Is your yak killing your back? Or even worse, now you have water flowing through your cracks? Well, if this sounds like you, dry those soggy balls and let's hop into a DIY project that'll turn your kayak into a fishing machine. What's going on, paddlers? Are you tired of your stock kayak seat leaving your back sore after a day on the water? Or even worse yet, you don't even have a seat because it got vaporized by the sun? Well, today I'm going to be tackling that issue by adding a hardwood conversion frame here, and then we're also going to add a budget-friendly Amazon seat. So we're going to get our measurements going, and then let's get this started. I know some people have kayaks like this, which this one actually isn't bad here because they actually make conversion kits where you can put a sit-on top seat right here. But sometimes people aren't as fortunate because that is a little bit harder to put a seat in. First things first, we're going to get this seat open and see what we're actually working with. And if you guys want this seat as well, I'll go ahead and put a link right here in the description. This is an Atwood low back boat seat. We're going to get her unboxed, see exactly what we're working with. Ready? Drum roll, please. Ah, what do we have? Oh, look at that puppy. Here we go. That is the new luxury we're going to be working with. No more wrecked backs over here. Oh. But we're going to take our measurements here of the narrowest spot on this kayak so we know that our piece of hardwood will fit nice and neatly in here. Looks like we got 17.5 on the width here, and let's see about the length here. It looks like 11 inches from right here where the seat dips down. We're going to make some legs here so the hardwood frame can seat right here. We have to get into the shop and start cutting ourselves some wood. We've got to get our safety glasses on, and we're gonna try to make a more manageable piece out of this hardwood right here. Use the saws off. Woo! Oh, that's the first part. Now let's get some more accurate measurement. We have a more straight edge here, more manageable piece to work with. We wanted 17.5, so we'll mark 17.5. We're gonna line those dots up here. Just make sure we got somewhat of a straight line. Right there should do it. Okay, that's the start. So now let's put this on the kayak and see where we're sitting. We can set this on top of here and see about what we're working with. We're gonna have to shave these corners off. So it looks like these recess down at a few degrees. We're gonna have to come a little bit, eyeball it. All right, and then we're gonna take this on the bandsaw and try to get this worked out. Let's go ahead and get this rough cut out here. We had to do a couple revisions, but I believe that should work right there. I'm going to measure it from that divot right there, and it looks like we are about 4 inches. We've got to cut ourselves a couple 4-inch legs here and start assembling it together. Well, we're going to take this 1x2 of poplar here. We're going to cut ourselves out some 4-inch legs right there. Looks like 4 to me. Woo! So what I'm doing right now is just fitting these legs right here. Right here, where that would be. That we got our marks right here. Now I gotta go drill some holes. Just gonna keep it simple around here. Just at the end of it, we're gonna put a couple of drill holes right through here, and then we're gonna also drill through this as well. We're gonna use a small drill bit so I don't over hollow it, and then I also get enough meat here. There. That's about right to me. Get us a frame here. There we go. One's more flush. Seat fits nice and snug. Beautiful. Now we got to figure out where our bolts are going to line up for this seat. We've got to put her back up here. It looks like we do have a little bit of hits a little bit right there. All right, So they're seated right here. One thing to note, right off the rip, I did notice these bolts are a little bit too small, so I did have to go grab some bolts from the Home Depot, and I am using the 1/4 inch by 20s, 2.5 inch, because they only set up about a 1/4 inch outside the hardwood frame here. So we are going to take these out, and these should set a lot higher out of it. Some of the issues you wind up running into, don't worry, these guys are only about $1.30 a pack. All right, so now we have that marked. The 2 3/4 we're hanging out backside of that wood, and it looks like we have 4.5 inches in total. And that's where the first hole is going to go. So yeah, we'll get the first hole drilled. Then we did get these holes done. In order to get this next measurement, we're just going to measure this cross section right here. Just going to measure from the center to the center. It looks like we have exactly 5 inches. And now we're going to drill those out. And hopefully we can get this thing lined up. Oh boys, isn't the prettiest, but here we are, got it right there. I think we're going to go ahead and seal this wood as well while we're at it, so it doesn't rot or anything like that. We might paint it as well to help match the kayak a little better. We're going to get the final touches here. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's this little screw hole from where the old seat used to be, but we're going to help use that to secure this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a bolt, make sure this is lined up, and try to make an impression here. All right, let's see, do we have a mark? I think so. You can see it right there. So we're going to go ahead and get that cut out. We're going to use that to help secure this seat down while we're paddling. Perfect. Thank goodness. All right. And that should just, yeah, seat right through there. You just lock it up with a fly nut. There it is. Now that we got that done, we're going to go ahead and take this seat back off, and we're going to go ahead and seal this up and paint it so it helps blend in a little bit better instead of looking like a piece of wood on a kayak. Okay, before we stain this up, I'm just going to sand this down real quick, try to get some of these burrs off. Now I'll be hitting her with a nice coat of polyurethane to help seal this up. Now that we got that nice and polyurethane, we're going to let that dry, and then the next step, we're going to paint it. 24 hours later, we let this thing dry up a little bit, and next step is we are going to paint it. I chose the Painter's Touch Flat Black. You can choose whatever color you'd like, but yeah, we're going to get to this next step. So painting, let's get it. Just added that Painter's Touch. Next thing we're going to do is let this thing set, cure up for a while, and put the final bit of hardware on it. There it is. We just got our frame painted black. Now the next thing to do is get our hardware on the frame and get this mounted up to the kayak. We got some wing nuts to help secure this to the kayak, washers to help the seat not move as much. To help secure it, we're going to use some 2.5 inch by 1/4 inch bolts here and put it through the base of the seat. I don't think that is going anywhere. Now, let's get it onto the kayak. Now the final step is to secure this seat right here to where the old seat used to be. We're just going to put a washer over the top of that and finish it off with a wing nut. And that should keep us secured to the kayak so we don't tip over or fall off and lose everything. She's not going anywhere. She is firm. Now that we got the seat done, some of you guys can be done right now. But if you're anything like me and you have one of these Perception Pescador Sports or any other sport model for that matter, you're going to realize that the hull is a little bit more narrow than some of your other kayaks. And we also did raise the seat another 6 inches. So that means our center of gravity is going to be off by another 6 inches. So without rolling like a log, I think we're going to have to put some outriggers on the back of this thing. Fortunately, I did find a website called Hiking Earth, and there was an article by Hutch that shows you how to build a do-it-yourself outrigger, and that's what we're going to do right now. So to start building these outriggers, of course, we're going to need some materials, and to do that, I will put a link in the description. We're going to need fishing rod holders, and these are some cheap ones by HITORHIKE. I got 3/4 inch PVC, and I also got 1/2 inch PVC. Some crab pot floats. It does say that the inside diameter of these holes are 3/4 of an inch or greater, but shrinkage may occur. So shrinkage did occur, and only a 1/2 inch piece of PVC will actually fit through here. So yeah, that's a disclaimer on that. Real quick, the 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer, we're gonna need some hardware to help mount it up to our rod holders here. So we're gonna be using some 5/16 bolts. We need 4 nuts on that, and we're gonna need 8 washers, some clear rubber cement, can of spray paint to help match the kayak a little bit better. We're gonna have to get our measurements on what we're gonna need, and we're also gonna have to get these rod holders. To get these rod holders back here, I'm actually gonna put them as far back as I can so, well, my paddle doesn't hit. It might affect the stability a little bit since they are so far back. First things first, I gotta figure out where to put these outriggers, and I believe they're just gonna go right back here. It's about the only spot I got. I'm gonna try to take this flattest spot right here, hopefully not get in the way of the fishing pole holder. Try to see where this is going to line up exactly without getting in the way. Should be the flat spot right there. And I'm going to put it right here. I'm actually going to measure it 4 inches. I'm going to do that with the same on both sides. I'm going to need a drill bit to get one of these started. Well, there's one drill. Now we've got the first hole. I want to just line this up. I want to keep this as parallel to the kayak as possible. If I can't drill out the other one here. There's the other one. Through there. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo! Now we need to tighten them up. That's a good start right there. Now we got to do the other side. 4 inches. So we're going to drill our holes again. Help us. Get straight right there. We're going to put this back on it. Oh, nice fit. Look at that. Now it's just time to get nuts and washers on. Oh, there we go. Tighten it up. There we go. Just time to see where these things are going to be sitting. Hey, you can lock them in place. Ooh, look at that. It's supposed to be made out of ABS plastic. Should be strong and durable, just in case you smack something. Now we're going to have to build our outriggers. So they seat right here, so we're going to be using 3/4 inch PVC for the next part. Our next step is to take this 3/4 inch PVC and make our main shafts for our outriggers. And the measurements are going to be 24 inches, so we're going to use tape measure, of course. 24 inches. We're going to make 2 of these. There's one. We need 2. All right, cut him out. There's our 2 main shafts. Now the next section is to cut out the posts for our floats, and the floats themselves are 11¼ inches long, so we're going to measure these posts out to 12¼ inch long, so we have room to put some end caps on and to mount the hardware itself. So let's get this measured up to 12¼ inches. You're going to need 4 of these sections here. Now we got 3 more of those to measure out. We got our pieces cut out, and now it's time to assemble it to see where it sits, and then after we get done with that, we're going to take it back together and we're going to paint it, and then we're going to mount it onto the fishing rod holders themselves. So let's get started with the 3/4 inch. We're going to slip it into this T adapter, which is reduced down to a 1/2 inch on each side. Now that we just got our outriggers done, it's time to disassemble them again so we can give them a nice paint job so we can match this kayak a little better. And we're going to take the hardware and mount it onto the fishing rod holder. So let's get painting. All right, painter's touch. We're going to get these things painted. I'm going to use a rake here to help keep these upright.
Now that we let the paint dry for a few hours, it's time to reassemble them and get these onto the fishing rod holders and get the hardware on and finish it up. Before getting these outriggers back together, I want to first make sure that they are going to seat on this fishing rod holder nice. So we do need to get our hardware hooked up, and I'm going to have to drill some holes through the PVC and through the fishing rod holder so we can get our bolts and washers through. Try not to mess up here. This is going to be tough. There. Oh, that's going to be a toughie. There we go. Gee whiz. Well, that wasn't as easy to get that started as I thought it was going to be. Now we can get the hardware. Let's set that right here. We're going to put a washer on the back side of this 5/16. Now we can seat one of these bolts here. These uppers start it. Ooh. There it goes. Then we get another washer. Put it on top of that. Now we need another hole drilled right through here. Once again, we want to get a washer on the back side. Get this through. Boom. Now that we got our main shaft hooked onto the kayak, there's only one other thing to do, and that's put everything back together. But to do that, we want to seal it. We're going to be using some PVC cement. We're going to be using a mallet to pound everything back in. So let's get it all assembled. Once again, it's time to do the same thing for the other side. So let's have at it. Just like that, we now built the Y-Wing from Star Wars. So now the only thing there is to do is get this out in the water and see how it performs. Let's see. So far, let's see what we got. Well, I feel it. It's working pretty well. Let's give it a little paddle out here. Ooh. I mean, they work. Probably need to adjust it a little bit more. Really definitely need to adjust it a little more. All right. Let's give it a try. Overall, we feel pretty good here. Feel pretty good. Here we go, guys. Look at that. That is nice. We're sitting all good. All up and flush. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, boys. Woo! Mm-hmm. Well, that was a nice test run right there. Like I said, if you get any value out of this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and go ahead and leave a comment and see if you guys did something like this yourself. All right, guys, till next time.